Hi guys, so today I'll be talking about why I went vegan and what led me to become vegan. So there's going to be a lot of statistics and facts in this video, and to make sure that I'm not just spouting rubbish, I'm going to be leaving the sources down below in the description box so that you can go check them out yourself. So I'm going to be dividing this video into 3 sections. So the animals, the environment, and health. So the animals. There's this quote and it goes something like this: if slaughterhouses had glass walls, everyone would be vegan. And this just shows that you really don't know what's going on behind the slaughterhouse walls. And just for example, for eggs, in the egg industry, you're allowed to have 9 chickens in 1 square meter. And for meat, it's even worse. You have 13 per square meter. And this is like the first point, like you don't really know what's going on. And also when you see happy adverts and happy chickens like hopping about on green lush fields, you think that that's what you're buying, and but in reality it's far from the truth. It's literally deception versus reality. So you're deceived and you believe that they, hop about and they're free and can do whatever they want, but then the reality is they're cramped on top of each other. And chickens, they're debeaked, so they're debeaked without anesthetic, which means their beak is removed without anesthetic, like chopped in half. And this is because if the farmer didn't do this, then they'll just peck each other to death. That's because the cramped conditions, the chickens can go insane. And so they do this as soon as the chickens hatch. They're debeaked and then the rest of the beak falls off after 1 week. And I didn't know that cows had to be pregnant to produce milk. Like, it seems so obvious now. When I found out this, I was like mind blown. So the way the cow gets pregnant is the farmer uses a process called artificial insemination, which means that the cow is literally thrust into a rape rack. That's what they call it in the industry. The farmer puts his hand into, that area, releases the semen using a pipette, and that's the way that the cows get pregnant. And this is done like so many times, so the cow just is, mentally and physically drained. As soon as the cow gives birth in a factory, she's bam, again, pregnant. Like, the farmer inseminates the cow again. And I didn't know that if a male calf is born, it's either shot straight away on the farm in the first 24 hours of its birth, or it's sent off for veal. So literally the cow doesn't even finish licking her young and cleaning it off, and it's already shot or sent off. And if it's a female, then it will be taken from the mother cow in like this wheelbarrow, put into pens, small pens that they stay in for up to 2 to 3 months. Then they end up getting like back problems because they grow out of the pens. And cows are maternal animals, so they'll just mourn for their young for days or weeks. The female calves that are taken away into these pens, they're given this like milk substitute, so not even the mother cows, because we take the milk. So they're given this substitute which doesn't meet their nutritional needs, to grow up. They need all those essential hormones. And cows can live up to 25 years, but in a farm they only live up to 4 years. They're genetically modified to produce 10 times more milk than they would for a calf if they gave birth naturally. And the cows are just also like stuffed in there, chained up so that they don't move and so that they fatten up. And this is because if they start moving, then they'll, get in muscle in their legs and body. And that's not what the farmer wants. The farmer wants the cow to be fat and like produce more meat so that they can sell more, essentially. So this just shows that it's not enough to be vegetarian, because when you're vegetarian you think that you're avoiding like killing animals, but the dairy industry, 50% of dairy cows in the UK are sent off for slaughter, so it's sort of unavoidable. So the second section is the environment. So when I found this fact out, I was actually shook. If you combined all of the world's transport, that only makes up 13% of the global CO2 emissions. If you combined animal agriculture, the CO2 emissions go up to 42%. And it's kind of deceiving as well from the government. Like, they say, use public transport, reduce your carbon footprint that way. But in reality, they should be telling people to change their diet, because that's the single biggest thing that you can do to, have an impact. And we have enough food to feed 10 billion people. So in the world there's 7 billion, and there are 820 million starving because 50% of the grains and crops that we produce are fed to animals. This is done because grain is considered cheaper than grass, and grass is what they're meant to be having, but they're having this grain and producing all this methane. So there's literally starving people living next to these livestock, and they don't have anything to eat. Well, the farmers are giving all the crops to the animals. So 1 pound of meat produces 75 kilograms of CO2 emissions, and that's the same as using your car non-stop for 3 weeks. And one hamburger, 3,000 liters of water, and that's the same as showering for 3 months straight. That is crazy, guys. And I also found out that the US livestock produces 116,000 pounds of waste every single day from farming, which is enough to cover New York, San Francisco, Tokyo, etc. And as a meat eater, you need 18 times more land than being a vegan. So being a vegan can reduce your land usage by so much. Animal agriculture is also responsible for 91% of rainforest destruction. And I kind of find it deceiving that in the new David Attenborough documentary, I don't know if you've guys seen it, but he mentions that palm oil is the major source of rainforest destruction. For palm oil, 26 million acres are cleared, but for animal agriculture, 136 million acres are cleared. So yeah, I find that kind of deceiving that David Attenborough didn't mention it in the new documentary. So the third section, and people usually will tell me that, oh, we're made to eat meat, we have these canines to rip apart meat, but the human body is more physiologically similar to that of a herbivore than that of a carnivore. We have flat, blunt teeth, and we don't have proper canines like lions have. And also, when you see a dog or a cat or a cow, do you have instinctive behaviours to go and rip apart take a bite out of that cow? You don't, because you're not a carnivore. And also, you cook the food, so carnivores don't cook their food, they just, rip apart with their teeth and eat. And we don't make this enzyme in our mouth that's used to digest proteins that carnivores have. And the number one killer on this planet is heart disease. And this is linked to eating animal products, because animal products have a lot of bad cholesterol, and it raises your cholesterol levels, raises your blood pressure levels, because you find clotting in the blood, and that means that less blood can pump through less efficiently. And eating plant-based can greatly reduce your risk of these diseases, and certain cancers are also associated with eating animal products. And you have to think to yourself, milk is made for a baby cow, so why are we ingesting that milk when it's got the hormones and all the essential nutrients that a baby cow needs, and not what we need? We're the only species that drinks milk of another species, which is crazy. I never thought about it like that. So when I heard that, I was like, that is so true. When are you gonna see a gorilla going up to a human and drinking the milk? You won't see that, because we all stick to the milk from the same species. And also, the reason why people say, oh, cheese is so addictive, milk and all these milk products and chocolate, the reason that they're addictive is because they have this protein called casein, and that casein in our bodies turns into casomorphins, and it has addictive qualities because it is meant for a calf to keep on drinking the mother's milk. And so the reason why we're so addicted to milk, cheese, and in general dairy is because it has this casein, which we're not supposed to be ingesting. And most of the world is actually lactose intolerant. The reason that some people aren't is because we've sort of forced our bodies to produce lactase in order to break down lactose, and only babies make lactase naturally, and when we grow up we stop making lactase because we don't need to drink milk anymore. And people are like, where'd you get your calcium from? And I'm like, eating plants, because if you think about it, the cow, how does it get its calcium? By eating the plants. So if we directly go to plants, we can directly get that calcium, and it's more easily absorbed because we're eating what we're meant to be eating, you know. You can eat plants and not have those casomorphins, hormones, the pus, the blood, the muck from slaughterhouses, and you can be a really healthy individual. Like, I feel so much better when I went vegan, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have so much energy to do all these things I've never done. Like, I've never done cycling before, and I've started doing cycling, and I feel stronger, and I feel like I wake up and I have so much energy. And also, animals that are slaughtered for meat, they're not tested for any diseases or tumours or cancers. So if they're not testing and then the farmer is selling it to you, that means you could be ingesting the flesh of an animal that had these diseases, and it could lead to the next pandemic, and I'm sure no one wants that because we're currently in one, and to be in another pandemic. Animal products are actually been linked to zoonotic diseases. So zoonotic diseases when germs spread between animals and humans, and there's been outbreaks such as mad cow disease, E. coli, Ebola, swine flu. These are diseases that came from animals, and it's because we've been farming them. That's why they've been in existence. So if we stop farming them, we can make sure that these viruses don't, explode and are not here, for everyone to now die from. It's kind of like bad karma. You're eating animal products and then you're getting, this virus, or you need to think about it. Like, everything happens for a reason, And also, animal agriculture is subsidized by the government, which means that the government gives them a lot of money to keep their prices low, and so that the customers keep on buying their products. And this is partly the reason why vegan food can be quite expensive, because it's not subsidized, when in reality animal agriculture, to produce milk and meat and all those animal products, it uses more resources, more money. So yeah. And the last thing I wanted to say was antibiotic resistance. So I found a fact where it was like 80% of antibiotics sold to the US are for livestock, because the antibiotics are given to the animals so that they don't spread diseases and healthy enough until they go to slaughter. And when we ingest these antibiotics from the animal products, say milk, eggs, cheese, meat, then we're ingesting these antibiotics and we're becoming antibiotic resistant, because as soon as we start taking antibiotics, they no longer work as effectively as they should, because we have these antibiotics from animal products in our bodies. So in conclusion, I just wanted to say that if you're like a campaigner, environmentalist, if you're signing petitions, and you have to ask yourself, why aren't you vegan? Like, it's the single biggest thing you can do right now. You have control of it 3 times a day. Just by switching what you eat can make a massive difference. I think people should look for bigger reasons than their taste buds to justify a short-term pleasure that they have from eating like a bacon sandwich, or from eggs or meat or steak. I don't think these reasons justify us having animal products and causing all this suffering, not to ourselves, but to the animals and to the environment. I think there's Challenge 22, if you look it up. It's a 22-day challenge where you get a mentor and they guide you through, and you be vegan for 22 days, because apparently it takes 22 days to break a habit. So I'll leave that in the description box below if you're interested. And so it's not enough to just sign petitions, and we have to do something ourselves, like something that's in our reach. We can be vegan, but signing petitions, you don't know if that's going to be enforced, or so thank you for watching my video. I think this video is important to make because there's some people that are really ignorant and don't want to face the truth and reality, and I thought I'd make this video to raise awareness of what's happening, not just to us with the global outbreak that we're in, but also to the animals, environment and our health, because we are in a global health crisis, global water crisis, land crisis, and also the animals are in a crisis and they don't have voices. So I thought I would just speak up for them. And yeah, so thank you for watching my video, and remember that one by one we can make a difference. Bye guys.